Hey everyone, and welcome to the Conversation Starter podcast, part of the Connect the Dots campaign, connecting communities one conversation at a time. My name is Shirley Blanche, and I'm one half of the Conversation Starter project, along with the lovely psychologist, Dr. Tara Quinn. And through our volunteer-led CIC, we offer both free and paid community wellbeing services in West Sussex. And today we're really delighted to be joined by the wonderful Sophie Green, who is coordinator of the Living Well programme, and Katie Longhurst, who's one of their volunteer tutors as well. So we're going to be chatting to them today to find out a little bit more about the Living Well programme and how that helps our community, but also our own well-being as well. So welcome to the Conversation Starter podcast.
Oh, well, thank you for having us.
It's great to have you guys here. I love the fact that we've got Sophie, you as the coordinator, but also Katie, who's had the experience, the sort of lived experience of going through the programme as well. So we're going to be sort of delving into that a little bit more. But before we go there, Sophie, can you tell us what is the Living Well programme and how it helps the community and our community wellbeing?
So the Living Well programme it's a self-management course for people living with any type of long-term physical or mental health condition. It's a 6-week course, and it's an NHS course, and it's free. And over the 6 weeks, we give our participants the tools and techniques to learn how to manage their condition and to sort of learn how to live better on a daily basis. So it's not a generic, it is a generic course, sorry, but it's not a course for a specific long-term illness, but for sort of any type of long-term health condition that you might have.
Can you give me an example of some of the health conditions that people might come along with?
So we have sort of participants that have sort of arthritis, diabetes, fibromyalgia. We also have people with mental health conditions. Yeah, it's sort of a whole array of anything that anyone has to live with on a long-term basis.
And it's amazing it's free. I think that's one of the things that is a big barrier to people getting help, isn't it? It's often cost.
Yeah. And we run courses now online on Teams and also out in the community over various different locations across West Sussex and Brighton and Hove. But yeah, it's once a week for the 6 weeks. And yeah, we try and sort of capture everyone by being able to do them online. So people that aren't able to go out, then they've got that option. But also if people want to be able to go out and sort of be with other people, then we do have in different locations. So we've got a course coming up in East Grinstead, and we've got another one coming up in Worthing. So yeah, we sort of try and cover West Sussex and Brighton and Hove and try to reach as many people as we can.
I love the fact that you have that combination as well, because I think it's really important. So much has been moved completely online now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's really great to have that accessibility of being online, but there is something that we miss a bit, I think, with in-person connection, isn't there?
Yeah, when people sort of get into the room together, it can be sort of really powerful, and just the support they give one another as well. So it's a bit of a different feel, the ones that are in person in comparison to the online. But it's nice that we can have sort of both of them, really, for those that aren't always able to be able to get sort of to a location.
And how long has the program been running for?
Oh my gosh, many, many years. It used to be under a different name called Expert Patient. But yes, I couldn't actually tell you the exact amount of years, but at least 15 years or so it's been going on.
Wow.
So yeah, quite a long time. But we are just our course is just based for people who live in West Sussex or Brighton and Hove, and they've got to be over the age of 18.
So I guess you've got a lot of data behind you showing how this impacts people positively and how it helps them. And obviously we'll be getting from Katie some of her sort of actual lived experience using the course. But what are some of the highlights that you can give now about the impact that it might be having? So if people were either looking at this podcast, listening, thinking, well, this might be something for me, but I might be somebody that's referring on to you. What kind of outcomes do you get?
Well, we have seen in feedback how, goal setting is one of our really important parts of our course. So every week with the participants, we sort of build on what they want to sort of get either short term or long term. And each week we build on that. And then we do find when we kind of feedback after about sort of 6 months they've been on the course, how much they've taken that on and how it's really sort of affected them. And they are learning to sort of manage their own symptoms as well, and sort of live a kind of a happier life, learning to sort of balance their symptoms and their condition.
what I really love about what you're doing, which is so in alignment with what we do at the Conversation Starter Project, is that you're actually providing people with tools so that they can be more empowered over their own health and well-being. And I think that's really
Yes.
important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of giving them the confidence to be able to learn to manage their symptoms. So yeah, we look at a whole host of tools over the 6 weeks, where we sort of look at how they sort of, you can manage medication, managing sort of getting a good night's sleep, which is obviously really sort of so important. Also, we look at sort of pacing, managing pain. They're just a few I can think of, but yeah, we sort of do about sort of 3 tools each session, and build them, and then sort of recap at the very end of our course. We kind of do a self-care plan where people can come up with how they want to sort of take themselves forward.
That's amazing. So I'm sitting at home, maybe I'm watching this podcast, I've not heard of the Living Well program before, and I'm thinking, well, actually, I think I could fall into this category. I've got a condition or something that's I've been living with for a really long time. How would I find you, and what would the process look like? Because I think it's quite daunting, isn't it, to go and try and get help and do something? Is it something that people are referred to through their GP? Can they come to you direct? What does it look like?
They come to us direct. We like them to self-refer themselves. But yes, we have an email, and we have a website, and we've also got a Facebook page. So all they need to do is, if I can give you the email address, and we send them a link, and they just fill out an online booking form, and then we can set on the booking form, it has all our latest courses that are coming up, and then every 3 months we do another round of courses. So if there isn't one that's sort of suitable for them at that point, then hopefully on our next round of courses in a couple of months' time, they'll be able to find one that suits them. But yeah, it is a self-referral, so they can do it themselves.
And what would I expect then if I've referred and I'm coming to a course and I've never done anything like this before? And I'm maybe walking into a room for the first time. This might be something actually that Katie can talk about really from her perspective. But from your perspective, if someone's watching this, I'm just thinking if they're maybe a bit nervous about approaching you or signing up for the first time, what can they expect? Because I think giving people an idea of what to expect in an experience is a good way to help alleviate some of those barriers. No, Sophie, if you go, and then Tara can talk to Katie a bit more about it, but just from your perspective as organising it.
Yes. So, well, we have 2 trained volunteer tutors, like our amazing Katie, who themselves have long-term health conditions. So we always have 2 of them on our training course, and they make everyone feel so welcome online or either in person. And then if they do have also any concerns, they can come to sort of me or one of my colleagues as coordinators. And we do obviously have, before a course even starts, if someone is a bit unsure about sort of, they're doing an online one with technology, because I know it's not everyone's sort of favorite thing, we're happy to go through that with them. We can do a sort of pre-course call on Teams or on the phone and speak through them, but we're here for whatever they want, and if they have any concerns, and they can come to us, but also to our 2 tutors as well on this session.
So they can have a bit of human interaction before they actually come along on the course, and just feel reassured by that, because that's really important as well, isn't it? What are some of the outcomes? Have you got any kind of personal stories yourself that you want to share with that sort of made it rewarding for you as a coordinator to be in that role?
Well, always our feedback whenever we get from the sessions at the end of the course, just sort of saying how people have felt empowered and how much it has helped them. And we've had participants before that have literally not sort of stepped foot out of the house, and one of their goals is to get out of the house. And by the end of the course, they have actually gone outside, and they sort of met their neighbour and had a cup of tea. And they've gone from not doing that to then feeling that actually they can, and they've got the confidence. So whenever you hear sort of heartwarming stories like that, and knowing how much it's really helped and affected someone, and then when we have the tutors, well, the volunteers coming back to be tutors, they've got on the course as a participant, and then they've benefited so much that they then want to help others, like Katie. So
I love that. I love that model that you've got, where people who've actually benefited themselves then come back to help you, and because it's a way of then feeling like you're giving back as well.
Yeah.
And that helps your well-being as well, which I'm sure Katie's going to talk a little bit about as well. It sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds like an incredible program. I think it's great to get the word out there that more people know about it. We've got a nice little walk and talk coming.
We do. Looking forward to it. Yes.
So I think we need to kind of push that a little bit.
Yeah.
So walking month, May. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing?
So we're going for a walk on May the 1st, next Friday, a week away, meeting at Southwater Country Park, but at the
we're meeting in Lintot Square.
Lintot Square, aren't we, at 12 o'clock? And we're going to have a walk around the lake and sort of talk about obviously what you guys do amazingly, and also the Living Well program. So now I'm really looking forward to it.
So if anybody wants to come along and find out a bit more about the Living Well program, that'd be a great and really informal way of coming along and finding out a little bit more about it, as well as the work that we do at the CSP, which I think would be really great. Sophie, is there anything else you wanted to sort of share for anybody that might be listening that's thinking of maybe joining, before we just sort of hand over to Tara, who's going to chat to Katie about her experience?
Well, if anyone wants to know anything more about the Living Well program, then please do sort of get in touch. I can give you our phone number and our email address, and we're more than happy to sort of talk through anything they'd like to know about the course. So more about the booking or what the course involves. But and if anyone thinks they can benefit from coming onto one of our courses, then it'd be great to see them.
That's absolutely amazing. Thanks so much. Yeah, share all that information with us. We'll put it in the show notes so that people can reach out directly to you. So I'm going to hand over to Tara now, who's going to chat to Katie, who's actually been through the program and can talk from a sort of lived experience perspective, which I think will be really interesting. Over to you, Tara.
Hi, and thanks for coming and listening to us. We're really excited because this is our first episode with guests on. So we're super honoured that you guys are first. You're our guinea pigs. Been really looking forward to this conversation. And thank you, Katie, as well, because I know it can be hard sharing your personal story. But the thing that Shirley and I really love about the Living Well programme is the fact that so many of the tutors and people have lived the experience. That's what's made them want to give something back. So that's the element that I've been really looking forward to talking to you about today. Are you comfortable telling us a little bit about your story? What was it that kind of drew you to the course in the first place, because I think that's going to resonate with people listening to this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I had to leave I was part-time, 30 hours a week. I had to leave work due to my health. I just wasn't physically able to do it anymore. And through talking to the social prescriber at my GP surgery, which a lot of people have never heard of social prescribers.
Yes, Do you want to tell us briefly what that is, if people are new to that as well, because that would be useful.
Yeah, I'm not sure if all GP surgeries have them. I don't know enough about it, but I know that mine does. And they just help you with things in your community that might help you. So she sent me links to volunteering opportunities, if that's something that I wanted to do, and different courses that might help me. So the courses that she gave me was the Living Well course. And then there was another one because I used to be very overweight. And so there was one about your health and your overweight and things like that. And I signed up to both because I thought, what have I got to lose? And the weight one wasn't for me. It didn't suit me whatsoever. But the Living Well one, however, was amazing, as you can see, because I became a tutor. So, but I was struggling with my health. With the overweight didn't help. But as you can see, I've sorted that out now. And that has helped. But I am still suffering with the chronic illnesses. It's not made any difference to those, surprisingly enough. They still exist. So having done the Living Well course means that I can still try and manage them as best I can day to day.
That's what I was going to ask. So sometimes we can be in a bit of a society where people are expecting kind of quick fixes, and sometimes life, our health, or emotional health, physical health, it isn't like that. And what can happen then is people can get quite understandably deflated or a little bit hopeless. And what we really love about the Living Well program, it's about learning to live with something, so still leading towards value-based living and whatever that looks like for you. And I think thank you, that's a really important thing, and I'm glad you felt able to share that this isn't about getting rid of a condition, it's about making room for it. And that is a really big shift, isn't it, because I think that might stop a lot of people kind of reaching out if they've had a long-term chronic condition for, well, how's it going to help me? How is this going to be any different? What I also love that you said there as well is that obviously you've been given a few different things. It's about finding the thing that fits for you and the living well.
Yeah, and living well might not be for everybody. You might think, oh no, that's not something that I want to do, or you might try it and it's not for you, and that's also absolutely fine. But I think give it a go, because it really surprised me, because I've lived with my chronic illnesses for about, I think I'm about 12 years in now.
Have you? Okay.
And I think I did the Living Well course in 2023, I think. So I was sort of about 9 years in by then.
Yes.
So yeah, roughly those dates. So I thought, oh, I don't know how this is going to help me. I've been living with it for this long. I know what I'm doing. You never know what you're doing, really. There's always new things to learn. And even as tutors, we still learn things from participants on courses. You're never going to stop learning about your own chronic illnesses, as well as other things that might help you.
So it's a real kind of two-way relationship. There's quite a few things that stood out to me there. But what I really love is there may be somebody going, but I'm not new to whatever I'm dealing with in terms of my health. How is this going to work for me? Is that leaning in anyway and giving it a try? And I'm going to come back to your other point in a minute. But what I really want to say is, are there elements of the course that really stood out to you? What resonated? Is there anything that you kind of think, actually, out of those weeks, what really resonated with you in terms of how you manage your condition, how you kind of engage in value-based living?
Well, Sophie brought up the goal setting, and we bang on about it in the course. And I'm sure people say, oh God, not again, because we do it every week. But it really is beneficial. And that is why we keep on top of it, because it really helps. And I find when I'm not tutoring a course, I sometimes lapse a bit. And then I'll start tutoring a course and I'm like, goal setting, I need to keep on top of this. And then it holds you to account to do things, because we say it's something that you want to do, the goal setting. That's important. It has to be something you want to do. So as an example, I'm tutoring a course at the moment. I do the online ones. And my goal for this week was, instead of scrolling on my phone before bed for 3 nights, I'm going to read a book. It's that easy. It's just tiny little things that can help. And we always say, no matter how small. And I think the reading a book that's really going to help me long term, if I can get into that habit, even if it is just 3 nights a week forever. Like, I'm not saying it has to be every day. We tell you not to do it every day because that's too much. But just 3 nights a week, if I can just keep that up sort of consistently, that could change my life.
So it's habit formation, but it's small, manageable
massive,
chunks. And I think that will also resonate with people that quite often we might be faced, especially with long-term health conditions. You need to be doing this. There can be a bit of shaming, can't there? We can do that ourselves, or it can come externally in terms of, have I done all the things? I love the fact you say it's not too kind of prescriptive in terms of I have to do it every day. And I love as well that kind of, when I look at that, let's call it like a symbiotic relationship, that one of the reasons that you kind of keep doing the job that you do is it also helps you to keep monitoring your own health. So there's that two-way relationship. Is it all right to ask you then, what is it that attracted you to kind of take that jump then to being a tutor? What was it? Because obviously you're managing a lot, you're managing your own health. What made you reach out and take that next step?
Well, at the end of the course, we always say to participants, if you're interested in doing it, please let us know. And at the end of the course, I was sort of grabbed by one. I think one of the tutors on my course sort of grabbed me and said, look, we think you'd be really good as a tutor. And I honestly was a bit like, oh, I don't know at first, because it's scary doing anything new. It's scary.
Imagine,
and you think you've got to go through all the training and, oh, what if I don't like it? And I thought, again, what have I got to lose? I might as well give it a go. And oh, look, I absolutely love it. And I've been doing it. I trained in 2024 and I've been doing it ever since.
So is it all right to ask you, because this is something that always interests Shirley and I. So when we run Conversation Starter Project, particularly when we're doing our walk and talks, is we do it because we love helping other people, but we also get a lot back in terms of our own physical and mental health as well. So there's obviously the things that you keep a track on your own health. It helps you to kind of keep track because you're constantly going over material with the people doing your course. But what is it that you get from doing it? What is it, even on those difficult days, which I imagine you have with a chronic health condition, that makes you get up and go and do that? What are you getting back from it that keeps you in that loop?
I know how much it helped me. So I know that if they stick with it, how much it will help them. And I want to be the person that helps them realize that, because of how much it helped me. I want to go, look, this is how much it can help you. And 99% of the time, that's exactly what it does. Like Sophie said, the feedback we get is amazing at the end of courses. They're always so grateful for the tutors, because we create a safe space, because we have the chronic illnesses as well. And we have also been participants. So we're not saying we're just people in an office being paid. We're going to tell you this. We volunteer our time. We don't get paid. We do it because we want to do it, because we get so much back, as well as for ourselves, like from ourselves, we get stuff back from the participants as well.
So I think that's actually a really important thing. So Shirley and I do some wellbeing training for the voluntary sector, and sometimes I'm not sure whether the public really know how much people take on and how much you hold, and that you obviously have your own lives and you're coming and doing this great work, that you do this is a voluntary role. So this is you giving your time as well as managing everything that you are for other people, but also that you get so much back. Is it also, some people may not kind of be familiar with that term safe space, and it's something I love to kind of talk about it in my world. What does that look like? Because again, just linking in with what Shirley was saying, there may be people that really want to do it, but there can be a lot of anxiety about new things, or, you know, what is it like being online? Who am I going to be with? What is it like in person? What does a safe space look like for people? How do you kind of approach that with them?
Well, I can only talk about the online, because I only tutor the online. I don't do community courses.
Well, I think that's important as well, because sometimes when you're more removed as well, there may be more apprehension about what that's going to look like.
Yeah, and like Sophie said, with the technology and things like that, that can make people feel anxious. What if something goes wrong?
Like setting up a podcast with 4 people. You know, we'll be
stuff goes wrong for the tutors. Stuff goes wrong for the tutors. We've been sitting there before, and the other tutor has been delivering, and all of a sudden they disappear. And then I go, oh, I'm just going to jump in. They seem to have disappeared. I think they'll be back in a minute. And then all of a sudden they'll appear again. I say, sorry, my laptop switched off, or whatever, got kicked out of the meeting.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that sometimes can make people feel a bit more comfortable as well, because you think we're not perfect, our technology is not perfect either. It can happen to any of us. But the safe space we like to create, especially online, is we make sure everyone is on the same page at the beginning, that you are in a private room, so there's nobody else around. No one's listening in, it is just us. And we make sure that everyone's, if they want to have their cameras on, we love that. It's not fun for us to talk to a black screen, but if they don't feel comfortable with the cameras on, that is absolutely fine. As long as they can hear us, that's the most important thing. Obviously we like them to see us, but if that's not working, then if they can't see us for whatever reason, then we'll muddle through, but touch wood, haven't had that yet. As long as they can hear us and understand what's going on, that's the most important thing. And we also like everyone to agree that what's shared in the group stays in the group. So don't talk about it externally. You can talk about what you've said, obviously, that's up to you, but what anyone else has said or done or whatever, that stays within the group. Just to make people feel like they can say what they want to say. And I think it's important that they all know that we have different things that we live with. So one of the first activities is introducing ourselves, but we type it in the chat. So the tutors will say out loud what our condition, we'll list a few of our conditions, what we're living with. And then everyone else, if they're comfortable, share it in the chat. And then we'll read them out. So you can see what other people are going through. But if they're not comfortable sharing, we will never, ever make anyone share anything that they're not comfortable with. And we will never make them share anything that we wouldn't share. So we always go first, which I think also will help people feel a bit more comfortable.
But I love that kind of humor. Is it all right to ask, do you share your own lived experience there as well? Or, you know, in terms of saying your history?
Yes. Yeah, I will tell them my chronic illnesses. So for the purposes of this, I'm fully open. I have fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, osteoarthritis, hypermobility, and I also have PTSD. So I will always share those on the course. I'm more than comfortable. I'll shout it from the rooftops. I'm not It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'll tell anybody.
I imagine that that's actually really containing for people as well, because sometimes again there can be kind of, you know, we look at like kind of power balances. Sometimes if you're on a course or you have tutors, there could be this kind of, you know, position of power, and psychological safety is so important for engagement, and obviously you want people to be able to benefit from it, and that's why having these conversations is really important, because this is the stuff that people might be holding on to that makes a difference between them signing up to a course or not. I imagine that we have that human element, but I love the fact there's a lot of autonomy there as well about what they share, how cameras on or off. Do you find as the kind of course goes on, do you notice differences in people maybe having them off and then moving and being more engaged and sharing more? Have you noticed anything in that respect?
Yeah, some people will sort of see how many people have them turned on, and then they might then turn theirs on, or some of them will just turn them on to share the goal setting, because we do the goal setting at the end, and then at the beginning of the next session we feed back and problem solve on the goals. So
a nice
sometimes they'll
structure.
They'll just turn their camera on to talk, because we get them to talk out loud if they're happy to. So they'll turn them on and off for that bit, and then turn them back off when they're listening, which absolutely whatever anybody's comfortable with, that's absolutely fine by us. And we say whatever you need to do during the session, do. If you need to get up, if you need to walk around, if you need to go and make a drink, do it. If that's what's going to keep you comfortable, do it.
They're removing all those barriers. There's little things. I know when we kind of run our walk and talk sessions, we don't start on time for that very reason. We don't have people booking on or having to cancel. Sometimes it's the small things that actually make a really big difference. And kind of looping back to what Shirley was saying at the beginning there, that level of autonomy, but also connection. So you could do a course, couldn't you, just yourself remote online where you're logging on in your own time, and that could work for many. But there's something about the connection, and that fits really nicely with our podcast, doesn't it? That people are together in a group, whether it's online or in person, and you're having that connection. So you're feeding off each other, who's sharing what's everyone else doing with their cameras. That I think is quite magic. So there's the content, but I imagine it's all the humanness, it's the dynamics around it that I think probably make a big difference to what people get out of it.
100%. And we can only give them so much. So we can only give them what we have set out on the course. And a lot of what they will get will be from the other participants. And we do encourage them to stay in contact if they're happy to, if they've sort of felt a connection with anybody. But it's entirely up to them if they want to. But I think it's important to help them realise that they're not alone. Because they've got us there. So we've got conditions. We know exactly what they're going through. Well, to an extent, obviously, it depends what chronic illnesses you've got, what diagnosis you've got, etc. But the other participants, I think, are really, really important in making them feel less alone and more comfortable sharing things. I think if other people are open and sharing things, then you think, oh, okay, I'll share some things because other people have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because someone might feel really down and sad and alone about what they're going through and think, well, I don't want to talk to anybody about it. But then they see a load of other people in a group. So the current group I'm on, we had 11 people. So seeing other people share what they're going through, they think, oh, okay, I'll share. But I'm similar. I'm in a really similar boat. And it just makes them feel a lot more comfortable, I think.
And imagine seeing the change as well. So, you know, in terms of, it's absolutely fantastic, the course and courses that you run. But I guess what I've learned from today certainly is I hadn't anticipated how much connection is also involved in terms of then there's that possibility for friendships and connections outside of that, which, you know, Conversation Starter Project, that's what we're all about as well. And hopefully people listening to this podcast is just that extra element as well. This is about humans connecting, learning, sharing, and also maybe that could lead to them sharing outside of the course and being okay with talking about things as well. I've learned loads. I don't know about you, Shirley, but it's, you know, we know what you do, but that's the lovely thing about conversations. You can always learn new things.
Definitely. And I think one of the things we wanted to do with the podcast is to actually show people the humans behind the logo, you know, because you could look at your course, you could sort of maybe see some photos, but to actually hear from somebody that's done it, to hear from you who coordinates it, it just humanizes it. And I think it makes it less intimidating to come along because, you know, if you know that you're going to meet lovely Katie on a course, and it's going to be facilitated really well. You're going to feel maybe a bit more confident, and I loved all of that, and I thought, Tara, that there were so many similarities with our project and the Living Well program as well. And I know that we have had walkers that have been on the Living Well program and sort of benefited from that. But what I think as well is I love the fact that you said that it makes people feel less alone, and I think that's really, really important, because that's one thing with chronic conditions, isn't it? You just feel really isolated. But also I think sometimes just sharing with people that aren't in your normal network and aren't in your normal circle, you can be more open and honest about how you're feeling, because that's what we find, don't we, Tara, on the walks, that people make a connection with other people, that they can feel they can be more honest about how they're experiencing life, because they're not having that judgment, or they've not got people trying to solve that for them who may be in their family group or their normal friendship group as well. So just having that open communication, I think, is such an important benefit from what you do. We're so grateful that you've been our first guests and you've come along here and shared all that information. Have either of you got anything that you wanted to add, anything you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
Apart from thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And to Katie, she's such a great advocate for the Living Well program. She really is. And it's a really lovely sort of supportive environment that we like to give to the participants to sort of to help them. But thank you. And I look forward to our walk next week.
Yes.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that. So anybody who wants to come along, we meet in Lintot Square in Southwater. There's a dinosaur statue called Iggy. We meet by there. We're going to go for a lovely little walk around Southwater Country Park. So you've got free parking in Lintot Square, which is why we meet there, because it makes it more accessible for people. Then we're going to walk to the country park. We're going to do a nice little circuit of the lake there, which is lovely because you get to look at the water and it's really calming and relaxing, and it's really nice, and get to connect and chat with people. So we will get this podcast episode out so that people can see it before they come along. And I'd encourage anyone that wants to come along and find out more about the Living Well program or the Conversation Starter project to come along and find out. We're so grateful for your time today. Tara, was there anything you wanted to say before we wrap up?
No, only that the special walk that we're doing is the Friday the 1st of May, isn't it?
Yes.
At 12 o'clock. So let's put the details. We need to put the details out there.
And the sun, hopefully. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Added bonus.
So thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks to everyone that's listening. Please do check out the work these guys do, because it is absolutely amazing. Yes. We look forward to catching up with you again soon on the Conversation Starter podcast. In the meantime, do take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.